Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my humble casa, that is Spanish for home, in Livingston, Montana here. Okay, now the subject matter that I've decided to tackle today is cigarette smoking and vaping. So if you don't want to know what I've got to say about that, you're more than welcome to click right on out of here and go do something more important for your time. But for you folks that are really seriously concerned about your health, especially when it comes to the quality of your breathing, I'd pay attention. It's as simple as that. It's not that I'm a doctor or nothing, but I've been through this whole miserable mess. Okay, I've got a friend of mine that lives in Louis, Kentucky. His name is George, and he wrote me a peer-to-peer, in a private-to-private email. But I figured I'd make a YouTube video out of this subject simply because it might help somebody else. Because like I say, I've been through this whole business, smoking, vaping, the whole 9 yards. But, George, this is the deal. I'll just skip through this, George. You know who you are and all that. He says, hi again, Jim. Hey, I just watched your video on vaping. Right here, George. I made lots of videos on vaping. You're going to have to go way back in my index. I made a lot of pro videos on vaping, and then right towards the end when I quit, when I realized that vaping wasn't healthy, I made some negative videos about vaping. But anyway, did it work? And I know what you're asking me there. You're asking me, did vaping help me quit smoking cigarettes? Yes, absolutely, beyond any shadow of doubt. But here it is. Here is the reality of this nonsense. You're just taking one nasty habit, meaning smoking cigarettes, and replacing it with another nasty habit. It's called electronic vaping. It's just that simple. And we'll get into a little bit of this. I'll try to make this video short, but hey, this is a pretty important subject as far as I'm concerned. And did you quit smoking cigarettes? Yeah, George, I quit smoking a long time ago. 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, you just ain't been keeping up with my videos, my good man. That's the deal here. I am thinking about buying one to help me quit smoking. Okay, right now, I'm just going to stop right here and give everybody, anybody that's looking at this video, a formula, if you will, to quit smoking cigarettes. Yes, you can use that vape and stuff, but I don't want to sit here and tell you which vaporizer to buy and what batteries to buy, because you get into all this, and what tanks to buy and what coils to buy, because it's all out there, don't you know? Vaping, somebody during the heyday of vaping made one crap load of money off of this whole deal by getting people to switch from cigarettes to vaping. But here's the deal. Vape juice, the stuff that you end up smoking, or not smoking, but vaping, you've got polyethylene glycol, vegetable glycerine, nicotine, and food flavoring. You got them 4 ingredients that are in a liquid mixture that you put in these little tanks that's got these atomizers or electronic coils in there, and they heat up real fast, and they make this vapor. They call it that because they claim it's not smoke. Well, I got news for you. That vapor is no more good for you than cigarette smoke is. It's all of this stuff is still plugging up your lungs. Okay, you understand, George? See, even though I've quit for like 5 years, I still have a real rough throat and all of that stuff, So I can still feel the residual effects from when I used to be a smoker, because quitting is not easy. But I've managed to do it. Okay, got me a little water there. Okay, what was I going to say? I've had no less than 2 doctors and 3 it's either 3 or 4 respiratory therapists tell me that they really don't feel that there's any medicinal benefit at all to vaping, because not enough time has went by for them to do studies on people that vape heavily to see what the residual effects on their lungs has been. You know, you're in other words, when you vape, you're really taking a gamble that nothing is going to happen to your lungs. Well, I got news for you. I know dang well. I used to vape quite a bit, you know. I mean, I had big clouds all over the place, and I was always, you know, buying these real expensive vape juice and this real good stuff and everything. Well, my wife started noticing that there was a film on our windows, and she knew, and she'd quit smoking, and I'd quit smoking. So the only thing that was putting this fine film of whatever on our windows was the residual effect from vaping. So if that stuff was covering windows, it's got to be getting in there and covering your lungs, which makes your lungs not work right. And if your lungs don't work right, you don't work right. You know, it's just like the Buddhists say, no air, no life. Your lungs and your respiratory system is very, very important. And if it ever, to your health, and if it ever starts going haywire, you're going to know it. Trust me, you're not going to be healthy at all. You're going to not have very much energy. You might even have to be put on oxygen and prednisone and all kinds of nasty stuff. So anybody that's watching this video, if you're a cigarette smoker, quit, because I did. I got started, I'll tell you folks how I got started smoking cigarettes in Vietnam. That place made me very nervous. The guy that I shared a hooch with, the sleeping quarters and stuff, smoked like a chimney. And one day I remember I come in from guard duty, and we had a real rough night that night. And man, I sat down, it was in the afternoon hours, and he had a pack of Marlboros sitting there on this little tiny table that we had. And I told him, his name was Dennis. I said, Dennis, give me one of them cigarettes. He says, you don't smoke, Jim. And I says, I'm about to, because I had a stomach ache. And I remember I smoked that cigarette and my stomach ache went away. Well, that's how I got started smoking. Wish the hell I'd have never picked up them damn things. Wish the hell I'd have never picked up vaping. So there you are. You know, vaping is an unproven science no matter what sure, the people that are addicted to vaping and the people that put out these products are going to tell you anything. But, okay, what I started to say is here's a surefire way to help you quit smoking. Okay, let's say you do buy a vaporizer. You know, you're going to have to get some batteries and one of them little what they call a mod that fires the coils, and you got to have a little a tank where the coils are and everything to make the vape juice get real hot so that it vaporizes and all that. And I can guarantee you can go down to your local vape shop. You're going to be into it for about a $50, $75 bill. And then bottles of e-juice, they call it, vape juice, they may run anywhere from $5 clear up to $50, depending, you know. But my advice is for a person to take up vaping for just not any longer than a month. You know, just find some flavor, something to get you off of cigarettes, and you have to, when you start vaping, you have to quit smoking cigarettes. You have to, because the vaping won't work. In fact, you're going to be overloading your system with nicotine. But if you would just, you know, vape for a month, you know, put a $50, $75 bill into it, go down to your local vape store, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to do it, or I'll be here all day. But this is how I was able to quit. And then, you know, I stopped, I slowed way down to the point where I stopped vaping. And then what I did was I went and got some nicotine gum. And every time I would get that really big urge, to smoke, the nicotine urge and everything, I would just pop me in a little piece of that nicotine gum. And I chewed nicotine gum for, it was only maybe a couple of weeks or so, and that was it. No more. No more nicotine gum, no more smoking cigarettes, no more vaping. So what I'm telling you to do is quit the smoking of cigarettes, tobacco, okay? Right straight away. Vape for a month, because I was a proponent, a fan, if you will, of vaping, but not after a bunch of doctors and respiratory therapists got done with me. I wasn't, and like that. But anyway, vape for a month or so, or how long you can stand it, and then just get you some nicotine gum. Nicotine gum is kind of expensive, and chomp on that, and after another month's gone by, you should have her whipped. It gets easier and easier and easier as time goes on. That's what I'm saying. Most people don't have enough self-will. But let me see here, Well, George said he quit when he was 40, and he quit for 5 years, so you know how it is there, George, Then you start back again because you couldn't, he's got a disability, and so, and then he went on to, he's 54, he said his wife smokes and she's got to quit and all that. So there you are, George. That's my remedy for whatever it's worth. I don't like the patches, I can't believe it, man. The VA gave me those patches, I put them on, and I didn't understand that when you're using those patches, you have to quit smoking. Because if you don't, you're going to get overloaded with nicotine. And that's the same thing with vaping. If you're vaping a lot and smoking cigarettes on top of it, man, you're going to be grabbing your chest. That's all there is to it. So my simple formula is immediately stop smoking, get you a vaporizer, a real cheap one, go down to a vaping store where they know what they're talking about and all that stuff, and vape for about a month, 2 months at the very most, and then right at the end of everything, get off the vaporizer for sure, because that stuff's dangerous too, and then just simply get you some nicotine gum. That's what I did, and it worked. And I haven't smoked now, I haven't vaped, I don't even know how long. I haven't vaped in, 3-4 years. Haven't smoked cigarettes in about 5 years, something like that, or whatever have you. So anyway, George, if you look back at my index, I've got a whole bunch of videos promoting certain e-juice and what I like in vaporizers. They call them mods, by the way. What I liked in tanks and all of that. And then finally, I had a whole bunch of VA doctors and respiratory therapists and even doctors right here in Livingston and respiratory therapists that, beyond any shadow of a doubt, they did not favor vaping at all. They considered it very dangerous because the science of vaping and what you're vaping, which I already named off, hasn't been proven that it's anything good for you at all. It's probably plugging your lungs up worse than tobacco. But it's just that it's so easy to get addicted to that vaping because there's all these different flavors and you can vape as much as you want to, and it's cheaper once you get you a little mod and your coils and your tank and all of that crap like that. But I can guarantee you, the wife and I discovered that with my heavy vaping, I thought I had it made with that vaping crap, but when we started seeing all that film of gunk on our windows in our house, inside of our house, we knew there was something haywire going on. And my wife was absolutely positive that it was from that vaping, and it sure was. So how can you say that it's not doing anything to you? Nonsense. Nonsense. I'm going to tell you what you're doing with all that shit. Every bit of it. You're killing yourself. Now, I want to make sure that I look this camera right in the eye and get people to understand that, like the Buddhists say, no life, no air, no life. It's that simple. Your breathing and the amount of oxygen that you've got in your body and stuff is paramount to the quality of your health. And you can quote me on that. So there you are, George. I've got a bunch of weird videos if you want to look at them. I should have taken them down. I really should have, But I've got videos clear back from when I first started. From the night I started puffing on that crap. Meaning vaping. And how many minutes I got here? 15 minutes, 16 minutes? Okay, that's good enough. I think I've got my point across. But there are ways, because all you're really doing is getting unaddicted to nicotine, and unfortunately for you cigarette smokers, you're getting unaddicted to the crap, the chemicals that they put in cigarettes so that cigarettes burn even and all that. And they've made cigarettes so that they're, overly addictive and all that other stuff. So you got the addiction of chemicals that are in cigarettes and nicotine to overcome. So there you are. I hope I made some sense here. I'm going to quit now because there's no use in just going on and on and on. But if I can do it, you can do it. And because I'd smoked for about 40 years, but I'm sitting here and still hacking away. So you folks take it easy. We'll see you on down the trail. And adios, my friends, and stay healthy. And one of the ways you can stay healthy is stop smoking shit. Excuse me, but that's what it is. All of it. Goodbye, folks, and take care.